Progress, not perfection. A universal theology is impossible, but a universal experience is not only possible but necessary. A Course in Miracles, see Intuitu. I want to share something that took me a long time to see clearly. When I first encountered A Course in Miracles, I approached it the way I had approached most things in my life, like something to complete, master, and do correctly. 365 lessons. Stop several times a day. Repeat the phrases. Get it right. Without realizing it, awakening became another assignment. At some point, that approach simply collapsed. Not because the course failed, but because I began to sense that I was relating to it in a way that wasn't helping. I was pushing myself toward an outcome instead of letting something unfold. The harder I tried, the tighter everything felt. Over time, I started to notice something different. The Course didn't seem interested in linear progress the way my mind was. It felt more like every lesson carried the same invitation, just expressed from different angles. I once heard David Hoffmeister say that if one lesson were truly received, not memorized or rushed through, but actually lived, the rest wouldn't be necessary. That wasn't discouraging. It was relieving. This is where many of us get tripped up. We mistake the Course for something to master or complete, when what it's actually offering is an experience that meets each of us exactly where we are. If awakening worked by uniform steps, we'd all need the same lessons, in the same order, at the same pace. But that's not how it unfolds. It moves uniquely within the one shared mind. I also began to see that the Course isn't really speaking to the part of us that's trying to understand it. The dream character, the one with eyes on the page, tracking sentences, wants answers. But the Course feels like it's addressing the mind behind the eyes, the part that already knows how to settle when it's no longer being driven. For a long time, I assumed mind training meant effort. Watching thoughts, correcting thoughts, stopping thoughts. But as I stayed with it, it began to feel less like control and more like patience. Less about discipline and more about trust. Not perfect trust, just enough to stay in the conversation. And if you're anything like I was in the beginning, you might recognize yourself in that cartoon, the man in the blue shirt, sweat dripping from his brow, gripping the Course like a textbook, trying to get it right. I know that posture well. I lived there for years, not because I figured anything out, but because I stopped insisting that it unfold on my terms. That's why progress, not perfection, matters so much on this path. Awakening doesn't feel like something we accomplish. It feels more like something that becomes possible when we stop demanding results. Even small shifts matter. We're navigating a path that speaks directly to a very complicated mind. One trained to analyze, compare, and evaluate itself constantly. That alone suggests this was never meant to be a pressure-filled endeavor. If anything, it invites a different kind of attention. Once something opens, however briefly, what follows seems less about striving and more about integration. Life continues as it always has. We still show up, relate, work, and participate. But the inner posture is different. There's more room, less urgency. Somewhere along the way, that frantic grip softened. Not because I mastered anything, but because I stopped treating the Course like an assignment and started letting it meet me where I already was. If you're new to the Course, or if you've been walking with it for years, and find yourself feeling behind, stuck, or discouraged, I want to pause here with you. That experience doesn't mean you've missed something or failed to keep up. It often means you're actually in the middle of the work, engaging with it honestly, in real time. Showing up, even imperfectly, is still participation. And participation on this path truly counts. The course was never meant to be a performance you complete in order to earn anything. It was meant to be lived, slowly, imperfectly, in the middle of a very human life. And this is where something important settles in. When perfection is no longer the goal, progress has space to take care of itself. So if you recognize yourself in that cartoon, gripping the book, feeling the pressure, trying to keep up, maybe this is a moment to pause rather than judge. That posture doesn't mean something has gone wrong. It often reflects how much you care, how sincerely you're engaging, and how deeply you want this to matter. And sometimes, that's exactly the place where something begins to soften on its own. Progress, not perfection. Experience, not theology. One mind, many paths. That's how awakening has been unfolding for me. With love, Reverend Kenneth Price.